Morning, internet. So welcome to the 4th day of the month of Shawwal. I'm just editing the vlog from yesterday, so by the time that you're watching this video, yesterday's vlog should already be up. Please be sure to go check it out. Also, I was up really late last night and editing in searching for new jobs. I'm just extremely frustrated right now. So today is the 4th day of Shawwal, and I'm just gonna go and have some breakfast. Got my breakfast here, and this is a vegetable omelet, and this is a whole wheat gluten-free butter paratha. I forgot to mention that I did actually get a call back from a possible future employer. So I called them back, but I didn't get any answer, so we'll see. Because whenever they called me, I didn't get the call. So because my phone, like I use like this weird like unknown phone service that nobody knows about. So yeah, it doesn't really have a lot of like coverage, but yeah, I called back and I left a message, so hopefully I'll hear back from them. So yesterday I didn't show like if I had eaten any breakfast, which I think I did have breakfast, but I only ate a little bit just because I haven't been hungry. Okay, so for me, like whenever the month of Shawwal like actually occurs, you know, I'm normal, like just like I would kind of eat in the month of Ramadan. I still kind of keep that going. So I don't, you know, I don't just, you know, eat gluttonously. So I do kind of like minimize my food consumption and pretty much continue through the month of Shawwal as well, not eating as much. It just started raining. It's like 2:30 or so. So anyways, basically like what kind of went down a couple of days ago, it was like around 8 p.m. And I was, you know, I was fine, you know, like I had, I didn't have any feeling that, you know, anything was wrong or, you know, nothing was going on, you know. So the whole day went by. I didn't get any patients. Wait, I think I did have a patient on Tuesday. I had 2 patients on Tuesday. One of them, she, I can't remember. I think we gave her 2 milligrams of ondansetron or something like that. We gave her actually 8 milligrams of the ondansetron on her hip. I think she was complaining of sore throat and fever. So anyway, she had an allergy to sulfa drugs as well as band-aids and adhesives. She was like 48 years of age. Yeah, so I used a larger gauge of needle to basically draw out the medicine into a 3 cc syringe. Then I disposed of the larger gauge needle into a sharps container, and I applied something more of like a booster shot injection. It has a gray top on it, type of a gauge needle. It's a little larger. And I went ahead and I put that on top of the 3 cc syringe with the DEXA in it. And then I made sure that there weren't any bubbles, so I just kind of flicked the syringe a little bit and make sure that there aren't any bubbles, so the air is released out of the needle And then I also went ahead and just kind of like pushed out just a little bit, just like a drop or so, just to make sure that, you know, the function is working to par. Then I went ahead and I went into the patient's room and I gave the injection on her right hip area, which she had no complaints about and everything like that. The way that dexamethasone actually works, you don't have to mix it with anything because normally it doesn't really hurt. That's one of the only medications that you do have to mix it with lidocaine is the ceftriaxone, because that one tends to hurt like a lot. Like when I got a shot in the hip, just making sure that that I didn't hit any blood vessels. So if any blood comes out, that means that you have hit a major blood vessel. You need to go ahead and withdraw the needle from there, but hopefully, like, you know, if you are trained on it, you won't be hitting any blood vessels. So anyways, I'm trained on it, so I don't ever hit any blood vessels. And then yeah, I just went ahead and aspirated, went ahead and made sure that there was no blood coming back in the syringe, which there was not. And then, you know, a good omen. And then I went ahead and inserted the medication. Took about, you know, 3 seconds. Went ahead and withdrew my needle and disposed of it into the sharps container. Threw away the syringe in the trash. And then I went ahead and I applied pressure a little bit, maybe for 30 seconds to a minute or so. Just apply pressure easily so that it does get in and everything like that, and whatnot. So, and then, you know, 30 seconds to a minute. She's allergic to Band-Aids, so I did not give her any Band-Aid, and then she was good to go. So the doctor's mom is there along with his spouse and I think another family member of theirs, and they're Nigerian and stuff. But anyway, so I was back in the lab to go ahead and get all of my my phlebotomy stuff. So I grabbed the nurse practitioner, like, you know, told me we have to go and do some blood work. I said, okay, that's fine. So I opted, she opted not to use just a syringe to go ahead and do the phlebotomy. She wanted to go ahead and use a butterfly needle, which I was like, that would be an okay idea. And then we also used, we took the syringe and we screwed off the end off of the butterfly needle. Like, the butterfly needle is a long sort of string pipe type of thing, very flexible, and basically it has an end to it where you would stick like a hub, and then you would have the vacutainer on the hub where the specimen would you know, get collected through the pipe, and on the other end of that is the needle. And it sort of looks like a butterfly. It has flaps, and you can just sort of like, you know, push the flaps together and then insert the needle into, you know, whatever vein that you have. So what we did is, so the other end, the end opposite of the needle that we would insert into the vein, we took off it. We unscrewed the needle off of that end that would normally go into a vacutainer, and we connected the syringe to it. So we just screwed the syringe onto it. Normally you can put any needle onto that. We screwed on the syringe onto that end, and then we had, like, you know, our alcohol swabs, Band-Aids, and stuff like that. So anyways, never had I seen anything like that done before. So then I followed the nurse practitioner into the room with the patient, and with his mother in there and everything, and I go ahead and I try to, and she's very, obviously she's an elderly lady. She was a hard stick, and she told me that even before we started. So before even getting started, she was like, you know, I'm a hard stick. And I was like, okay, it's okay. I mean, we can work with it, you know, no problem. So the first time that I went ahead and tried to stick her, so I made sure, first I had to locate the vein, so I went ahead and put a tourniquet on. A tourniquet is a plastic large band that you would normally kind of wrap around this this muscle here, your bicep, and that allows you to perform phlebotomy. So what you do is you put the tourniquet on, and that like applies pressure on your veins, allowing your blood to kind of like you know, pressing pressure onto the veins, and it sort of allows the veins to kind of like sort of pop up in a way. So when you use a tourniquet to do that, you can actually feel where the veins are. So, you know, at that point you can choose which vein you'll want to go ahead and use and stick, okay, to draw the blood. So I did that for quite some time. You know, there's a vein right here and there's a vein right here. This is your antecubital region. So I have really good veins. Like, you can pretty much see, like, you know, this vein right here, you can pretty much see it on my arm. Now, for somebody that's an elderly person or a pediatric person, someone that's not me, I have very spongy veins and everything like that. They always just bounce and everything. But for an elderly or pediatric patient especially, so for an elderly, which in this case she was an elderly woman, this vein is the one that we decided to go with. It's a bilateral vein on the you know, the arm, and you know, it bounced up and everything like that. However, it was really fine, and it was kind of hard as well. So I think that's what she meant by hard stick. But anyways, I went ahead and tried to go ahead and I went ahead and I stuck her. No blood came out. I think that was probably due to just not enough blood being in there. Also because for elderly patients, the skin is actually very like loose. It's not firm. So, you know, it makes the whole process a little even more strenuous. So I didn't get any blood shoot back into the butterfly needle. So then the nurse practitioner went ahead and she tried the hand. So she actually was able to find a vein. Basically what she did is she sort of like applied pressure onto this hand, kind of like holding the skin taut a little bit, just like stretching it about apart, and locating the vein that she wanted to stick. So yeah, I mean, for her, like, everything went through. Of course, she's a nurse practitioner and she's probably been doing this for a much longer time than I have. So for me, it didn't work. But yeah, and then so anyways, we got the blood and everything. So basically after that, what kind of surmised is, so the nurse practitioner, she collected blood into the syringe, and then we went ahead and we unscrewed the butterfly needle from the top of the syringe, and I threw it into the sharps container. And then so at that point, the syringe with the specimen or the blood inside of it, like, it was completely like, it was open to the air. Okay, so I was like asking the nurse practitioner, should we leave it like this? I mean, do we need to cover it up, basically, because it's open to air? She was like, okay. So she takes like a cover, like a piece of paper, like basically what the package in which the butterfly needle came in, and she put it on top of the syringe containing the blood, and then so she covered it like that, and then we transported it into the lab. So at that point, the doctor was there as well, and he was like, what is this? He looks down at the syringe and he notices, you know, this, and he was like, what is this? And he was asking me specifically. So, you know, I kept my mouth shut. And then And then yeah, and then like after that, you know, before that, he told me to go and grab the CMP disc for the piccolo that we use in the lab from the fridge. And I said, is it in the freezer? Like, I just asked him a question because I really wasn't sure. Whenever we were doing the training for the piccolo, I had to be running back and forth to the front to make sure that there weren't any patients, and as well as listening in on the training for the piccolo. And so I kind of, you know, it was really, really hazy for me, so I just asked a simple question. He was like, look at what you're asking right now. And I was like, you know, at that point I got really, really nervous about, like, you know, I don't know what I said, so I thought I offended him or something like that. So anyways, I just carried on with what I was doing, and then he points out that, you know, we had used the you know, he was like, look at that, you know, what is that and stuff. And then he looked at the syringe and it was open to air and everything like that. Then he had like this weird like attack of mania or something, like anger, just pure like beast mode or something like that. And then he goes under the cabinet in the lab where the Apaxis like piccolo green top vacutainers are, and he pulls them out and he slams them down on the counter in the lab, and he goes, everybody knows that you're supposed to be using the green top vacutainers to collect the blood. So I just stayed quiet at that point. The nurse practitioner was there, as well as his wife. His wife was also standing there in front of us, and he was like yelling at us. And he got really, really mad. Like, his face turned red. Yeah. So at that point, I just kind of, I was trying to go to the front. He yelled at me. He goes, the patient, you know, she needs to pay or something like that. No, the nurse practitioner was like, you need to go to the front because there's a patient up there or something. I don't really even remember, but anyways, I just left the scene. I was like, you know, forget this. So I just like went back to the front. I sat down at the front desk and everything like that. Later on, like maybe 10, 20 or 30 minutes later or something, like a long period of time went by. And then the doctor comes to me, he goes, you know, did she pay her copay and everything like that? I was like, I wasn't able to collect her copay and stuff, or maybe it was I that went to, I asked the nurse practitioner, I was like, hey, did she pay her copay? Or is she still there because she's supposed to pay her copay? And the nurse practitioner was like, no, she's gone. I was like, oh, okay. So then the doctor then came by like half an hour or something later, and he was like, did she ever pay her copay? And I was like, no, because you know, she's already gone and everything like that. And I was with a patient, and then I was also working with, you know, Irene to collect the phlebotomy, you know, blood sample and everything like that. So now the other patient that we saw, like I explained, during the time that I was seeing the first patient, I had just triaged the first patient. I went ahead and I brought the second patient back, and I took her vitals and everything like that. And then, you know, I went ahead and I roomed her, and I asked her, you know, her past medical history, and stuff like that. So she said, and what's the reason for the visit, any allergies, and what her medications were, any surgeries or hospitalizations. And then, you know, and she answered all those questions for me. Her BP was like 157 or like over like 87. So it was kind of elevated. It wasn't like extremely elevated or anything like that. I've seen way worse case scenarios where, you know, I've had to call the emergency room or an ambulance basically. But in this situation, it wasn't the case. Anyways, though, yeah, so I went in and I tried to stick her for the blood. So I tried to do the phlebotomy on her, and as I said, so I was trying to stick this vein here, which is kind of like bilateral, when I tried to stick her, and it didn't work. So I just kind of poked her because it it sort of moved, like the vein actually moved. It was a really hard vein. It was kind of fine also. So it sort of moved as soon as I stuck the needle in. No blood came out. And then I went ahead and I removed the tourniquet at that point because if I had left the tourniquet on, it's possible that, you know, if I did stick anything, the blood would still keep flowing and it would have flowed out of the hole that we just made. So I went ahead and I just took the tourniquet off just to kind of let her relax a little bit and let the blood to continue to flow again in her arms and everything. And then the nurse practitioner kind of took over. I assisted her a little bit, like I gave her an alcohol swab and, you know, whatever she needed and everything like that, still in the room. And in the meantime, I think the patient that I was with, she had already left. She had already left the facility, and she already had gotten like the visit summary from the nurse practitioner and everything, and she knew that so she went to go and pick up her prescription from the pharmacy. So anyways, and then the nurse practitioner was still kind of like drawing her blood, and then she kind of drew the blood into the syringe, which I have never seen this done before. It was, anyways, so then we took the specimen into the lab. He got really, really mad. He saw that the specimen was open to air, and it was just covered with like a plastic, package for the butterfly needle and everything, and it was just sitting there on the counter. And I looked at the nurse practitioner. I was like, why is he looking at us like that? And she didn't say anything, and whatnot. Then he got like really, really mad at me, with his spouse standing right there, taking out the bag with the green Apaxis vacutainers that were in a totally different bag. Had I known about the Apaxis green top vacutainers, I probably could have like helped correct the situation, but I didn't even know about that. I didn't recall what happened several days ago, especially when I was trying to work and run the front desk and make sure that nobody walked in while I was in the back doing the training for the Piccolo, the CMP in-house. So I had no idea about these green, vacutainers or anything like that. And so, yeah, and then he just kind of looked at me. He was like, okay, like that. I was like, okay, so when he got mad, he just kept saying like, okay, like he looked at me as if he was really mad at me. Which it wasn't my fault. I wasn't the one that, was the one to collect the blood from the patient, nor was it my fault because I wasn't the one that chose that route of phlebotomy to perform. And anyways, then he, 30 minutes, so all of that happened, and then I went back to the front and everything, and I started waiting because there was nobody still at the front. So I was like, so I just went and I sat in the front, and and I was waiting and everything like that. 30 minutes later, he comes up to me. He was like, did she ever pay her copay? And I was like, no, I wasn't there because we were, I was doing this and this, and I was in the patient's room to, collect the patient's, blood, and then, triaging your mom and everything like that. He was totally cool. Like at that point, he was smiling, so he was not like, kind of losing his mind. So then he was like, just call the patient back and just ask her, hey, just let her know that she forgot to pay her copay and if she can come back and pay it. I was like, does she have to come back right away or what? And he was like, just give her a call. So I gave her a call and I was like, hi, you forgot to pay your copay for $35. She was like, oh, okay. So she was like, I'm at the CVS right now, and I can be up there as soon as I leave the CVS. So she came back and I accepted her payment of $35, which was her copay. So for the rest of the day, I didn't have any more patients. I just had to sit in the front desk area, you know, just wait for any patients that did come by. I was also answering phone calls, and doing some, like, yeah, that's pretty much that. We had somebody that was in the back. He was like a tech or something. He was fixing the x-ray machine that still was not working. I'd been there for a month, and they said that, you know, we were going to get trained for the x-ray machine when I was doing the interview and whatnot, and I was asked, you know, if I was willing to do that. I said yes, of course. I would really like to do that. I would like to add, you know, x-ray training on my resume, and, you know, like to be able to do that. So even after like a couple of months, you know, after all of that, there was a tech that was there yesterday, that same day, that had been there the day before as well, trying to fix the x-ray machine, and still had not been able to, and was planning to come in the following day in the morning to, you know, continue fixing it, is what the tech told me. He was there the whole time. But yeah, nothing else really happened. Then around 8 o'clock, the doctor comes back, because he sees patients at some other places as well, and that's how he kind of pays the bills, is by seeing patients in the daytime. And then anyway, so he came by because he has to come by and somebody has to lock up the place. He came by and he was like, it was around 8 o'clock. He comes around to me. I was yeah. So he comes around to me and he goes, well, I think this is going to be the last day for you. And I was like looking at him like, you know, I couldn't really say anything. So yeah, I just didn't. So I didn't really talk. And yeah, so I just kept my mouth shut, and then I started to pack up my stuff and everything. I made sure I got everything. And, you know, basically just all your belongings, like any notes, anything that is my own personal property. And as a medical assistant, like, I am actually like certified, like I'm a certified provider. Like I am a provider. As a registered medical assistant, I'm a provider. So if somebody comes up to me and asks me if I'm a provider, I'm going to say yes, because I am certified in the state of Texas, you know, and nationally accredited. So, you know, yeah. But anyway, I'm not a physician, but I am a provider. I am considered a provider. So I'm basically kind of like a free agent. You know, I work for myself. I don't really, you know, I don't know. That's kind of hazy to explain. But, you know, I asked the physician one thing and I was like, you know, why? And he wasn't able to give me the answer. All it was is that, you know, it's just not going to work out between you and the company. So, yeah. And then he got onto his, then he, like, I was like, I don't even know what I said, but I went to go and grab my things, and I grabbed my notes and stuff and just made sure that everything was clean and none of my stuff was left in there. And so when I collected the notes, he was like, what's that? You know, you're not supposed to be having this. This is proof, da-da-da-da-da, you know, of stuff that you're not allowed to be doing. HIPAA is the health, HIPAA, it's like Health Involuntary Protection something act, and basically it just it's a privacy like service. It's the law. So for the healthcare, and so. You know, and then he grabbed the notes from my hand, and then he holds them up and as if to like throw them in my face or something like that. Like I thought he was really going to touch me and stuff. And I just kind of moved away from him, deemed it kind of dangerous situation and everything like that. And yeah, and then he was like, this is proof of, you know, all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then he asked me to step away from his computer. I don't know what was that either. So I went ahead and I moved away from the computer. Then he sat down on the chair and he started looking like a maniac. He started looking on the computer for the file, and because he was like, did you delete this file off the computer? I was like, yeah. He was like, you did, like as if he didn't believe me. I was like, yeah, you can check your computer. And so he got onto his computer. He asked me to get away from his computer, and then he got onto his computer and he started looking like a maniac all through his files. Didn't find anything. So the guy didn't find anything on his computer. I was just standing there off to the side, you know, just completely oblivious. And then he kind of turns around in the chair and he has this the biggest idiot look on his face, as if somebody just like hit him in the face with a bat. And that's it. He didn't even say anything. So it was like a couple minutes till 8:30, and I left the place. So my mom just made this peas and rice. So now I'm just gonna have the peas and rice that my mom just made with the yogurt and tomatoes and onions, salt, and pepper, I believe is in there. Hey guys, so I'm just having peas and rice pulao basically, and it has like yogurt, onions, and tomatoes on top of it, and then I'm gonna add some beans to it too. So I just added some lentils on top for the extra kick of protein. Hey guys, so if you are interested in helping me in my current situation, please go check out my Twitter page where you can get some details on how you can do that. I'm selling some Amway products, so I just wanted to go ahead and kind of you know, put that out there. So yeah, go and check out my Twitter. Link's gonna be in the description for you guys. And yeah, and I'm gonna go ahead and close the vlog for the day. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in and staying and watching all the way to the end to this point. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.